It's going to be a banger. Let's see as well how the votes have been going down, because it's always a weird one to tell over at event.brawlstars.com. It's sometimes very one-sided. It is going to be one-sided. And I don't think that that reflects this matchup. This, in my opinion, is probably going to be the closest of the matchups today. Whether or not that will be reflected in the scoreline, we'll obviously tell very soon. But 83% of votes are with SK. Now, Teddy, does that reflect the fan following or the reality of the situation upon us?
I think it's probably more likely to be the former, just because, you know, I mean, SK have so much history within Brawl. They've had so much success as well, but so far this year has been scrappy, to say the least. And I feel like bringing in a new teammate is going to be super exciting, but, you know, the synergy needs to build up. B is going to be our first pick here for FUT esports. But honestly, Ark, I think this is just such an interesting matchup, and I feel like both teams have so much to prove so far this year. Such big names that haven't quite made the mark they wanted to do in the BSC 2023.
Yeah, SK for me are looking the best they've looked all year. And considering that when you look back to last month or the month prior to that, technically in the BSC, you know, getting that win over Zeta Division for them in that quarterfinal stage really did give them that lift, that reassurance that they haven't dropped off, as many of the community were saying. They were thriving. They made it through to the grand finals. You know, that is a huge turnaround. That was with Jetton. This is now with OPE, and I've watched this roster with OPE be a bit slow to the mark, but then really start to flourish. And I do feel like this is going to be the month for SK personally. Will FUT Esports caused the upset. Very early drafts here of the Sprout and the Pam coming in. Risky ideas, to be fair, which can be countered later on, but actually going to be matched here by FUT. Bringing in the tick for more control to add on top of things here. Who do you think's got the upper hand so far? I mean, for me, it's relatively balanced. I think the B is an interesting idea for split, but you know, give us your thoughts. Pam's gonna be great here, right?
Yeah, I think it's fairly even, to be honest. Well, now things suddenly get incredibly interesting. Edgar is going to be picked up by FUT Esports, and we've seen what, you know, some players like Tempo can do on Edgar. We also seen what people on Ladder do with Edgar, and I don't know yet which one to expect.
Well, this is interesting because FUT Esports really thrived as the back of the egg pick against A&R in the qualifying stages, which gave them the win. I think it was maybe Brawl Ball. It was a different game mode for sure. El Primo coming in for SK, but honestly, if there's anyone who knows how to play against it, it's Semantic. I mean, he's a fantastic Primo, but OPE, I think, probably going to take the reins on that particular brawler. It's going to be chaos on the Sprout, no doubt about it. So it could maybe be Yoshi or him, but regardless, you know, I've got to feel like this is something that FUT have been putting into practice quite considerably so. The B is going to be a fantastic thing for them to be able to really shut down with the honey molasses. But against the Sprout, which can take it out relatively quickly, I mean, it's going to struggle to find a lot of these angles later on in time. And with no real wall breaker, aside from those tick heads coming in for them, like, it'd be interesting to see how they make this B pick work. It's a bit out there, but I quite like it. Let's see, though, as the first time we see both of these two rosters appearing in the BSC go head-to-head, the Horns are going to clash.
Yeah, to be honest, B used to be quite an emblematic pick of Split when we used to see a lot of wall breaks. You know, you'd rock it with a Colt, maybe even a Brock, open up those walls, or a Griff works too. So many options. It's just not something we see as much anymore since we've had those unbreakable walls added to the game. So far, Semantic is going to go for a jump in, get some value. Can he pick up a kill? Another jump now as well. But wow, somehow he does make it through. He does go down as well. But it's a 2-for-1 that FUT Esports should be happy with.
I can't believe he managed that. I mean, obviously the trade was there, but it kept SK off the zone, and that's all playing the objective power there as OP jumping in. Just about gets the Nun burnt down there as well, but Chaos coming in now onto the zone. Gets some time for his own. Consecutive taps, but the third didn't land, and now Drage, who is there with the Japanese characters, by the way, coming onto the zone and getting some time captures. OP is now going to be in a bit of a struggle here. He'll jump in for sure, but so far it's so back and forth. I love it.
It's a great start here for SK Gaming. It's only a little bit of a lead, but they've spent a considerable more amount of time on the enemy zone, and that's the tougher one to capture overall. Yoshi still defending Semantic on that right-hand side and has managed to slip through the defense, but he's not really able to get any percentages for his team. Goes for a jump onto iChaos, misses, but iChaos does not. The Tickhead will take care of the turret here from Yoshi, and there's no healing station available anymore. Still a little bit of a lead for SK Gaming, but there's plenty of time for FUT Esports to try to turn things around.
It really is, and they just came up a bit shy there on that super, but nonetheless, he's well aware that OP is waiting for his moment in time. Semantic gets a great takedown there onto iChaos. Yoshi, though, still remains. Frey's going to come in there. Didn't quite connect, though, with the last blast there, but Yoshi's going to try and force his way forwards. Tickhead there. Drake's doing pretty well in the circumstances to stay alive even. But somehow SK do pick up the win. Well, the moment there, Yoshi with the healing station, and now they will get the win eventually as they get the first one. One game.
Going to be forgiving themselves, but so far, so good for SK Gaming as FUT is on the back foot.
No pun intended, right?
It genuinely was.
I don't know about that, Teddy. Nonetheless, one thing I had as a consideration coming in to this matchup for me was the fact that SK Gaming didn't make it into the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge Finals through Split 1. So they've been competing a lot throughout the last few weeks into Split, whereas they did secure themselves that spot. And I wondered, like, looking back, whether that would go for them or against them, because actually having a great amount of time to competitively practice under a competitive setting goes a long way. And SK have been able to keep up that in that same idea. Like, OP is going to absolute tear. There's nothing that FUT can do about it so far. Now that Alan's coming in, that's the ideal person for it. But all that time has been wasted. He's still going.
There's no one in the game right now that wants to destroy FUT as much as OP, and he's definitely letting that show. Fantastic stuff from OP. As right now, SK are in a commanding lead as well. Semantic coming back for defense, but DN is not really able to help out all that much to jump in on Yoshi at last, but the healing station is keeping Yoshi alive for an awful long amount of time. Eventually, Semantic does find him, but he can't really overstay his welcome in that right zone. FUT are catching up, but slowly.
Order has been resumed, but for how long? That is the question. Smith jumping in is a very risky thing, but now Lenon coming in from the backside does get the pickup, and that should secure things, and now at least enough to be level Peggy. Semantic observing the situation, jumps in on the perfect candidate, which is the Sprout pick, and now OP should fall victim to this scrutiny. It's going to be close, though, nonetheless. That zone is not yet there. 3% now. Oh, a last-ditch attempt with the wall, but despite those insane plays from OPE, which were, honestly, player of the day worthy stuff, they didn't quite get the objective there, and actually FUT starting to show themselves worthy here.
Good stuff from FUT. They're catching up, and this is their chance to leave a big first impression in this match. What an exciting way to start this quarterfinal match as well. A Primo and an Edgar. That's why things have been so dynamic so far. Yoshi is going to be clearing up Semantic on the right-hand side. This Rage is trying to farm those thick heads, and it's going to have one place down already, but it takes some damage, and it's not quite going to reach destination. So far, we're even as both teams are more heavily focused on defense, and Semantic will jump in, finds one. There's a wall now to heal up and get back into the mix with near full HP.
Semantic is so good at surviving in these sort of situations, isn't he? I'm going to probably jinx it, but he is still going. He jumps into chaos and gets the kill, healing up along the way. He is the thorn in the side of SK right now, and again, with so much history between these two teams, you got to realize that there's a lot of ego here as well as pride on the line. So, you know, it's going up against his former teammates effectively, as is OP against FUT. So these back and forth moments mean more than just the takedowns. It's about everything.
So much emotions coming into play for this match, and so far it does seem like FUT Esports are able to deal with things as they have just a little bit of a lead. Yoshi trying to hold on to dear life on that right-hand side. Semantic is low, does have jump. is not quite going to be wasting it just yet, as Ope is able to take him down. A jump in from Ope again. It's some nice value. The burn onto the tick is going to get him low, but not quite enough to take him down. And SK Gaming nearly enough caught up, and actually, it's all even now.
So close. Semantic should go down here realistically, but Yoshi's being so patient. Allowing him to heal might not be the play here, to be completely honest, as OP comes back in and forces their hand. 76% with SK, but this left-hand side zone which they need. They've got to time it just right. OP wants that jump. Yoshi covering from the top here. Big touch from Lenan. Do secure it. Slow as well to OP. He's forced to jump, but there's no one there to really contest it. Semantic gets on the zone and brings things back. Gets the difference for FUT.
Semantic able to even things out now. Goes for the jump onto Yoshi. Gets some damage. Is it going to be enough? Yes, the kill comes through. Ope also not in the best position. The tick head connects and Semantic could deal with him, but he doesn't really care. He's going to go defend instead, because it is SK with a 2% lead that FUT wants to turn on desperately. Now recharge shot. Is that going to be enough to slow as well? 2%, 1% actually going to be in favor of FUT, and they will take. Right now, they have so much to prove, and that they have to face each other in the quarterfinals is it's just so much fun to watch. But only one team is going to make it through, and winning a layer cake here in Bounty is going to get them one step closer to victory.
I think what makes it so enjoyable for me as well to witness and to watch is because these two teams have got such a similar play style now that OP has been added to the SK Gaming roster. He really does, in the words of Pedro, over on Twitter, he fulfills the role which they were searching for and missing within their lineup. So now you've got these great interactions between Semantic and OPE, and the controlling elements there of Chaos coming in versus Strange, and RT versus Brawler coming in for Layer Cake, as the bans for Bonnie, Ruffs, and Shelly for SK Gaming, for Tick, Gene, and Max on the side of FUT, and their first draft coming in. We've seen as well, Lenan does like to go aggressive on Layer Cake with some tankier ideas, but obviously the draft leading up to that process might determine that that's the play today. Gut's going to come in as that safety idea for the mid early on. Carl going to come in as the aggressive idea to add to it, and that's got to be a Lenan pick right there for me. He was absolutely popping off on Layer Cake last time I remember watching FUT go up against this, and I think it might have been against SK over the Snapdragon Pro Series, where they did get a sweep. It was a 3-0, it was clean. FUT managed to get themselves into that challenge season, the result of a clean sweep against SK. But in the qualifying stages of the BSC, that's where SK bit back. So this is about getting even. Whoever wins this one today is going to have one up.
And one up in the most important competition in Brawl Stars as well. So really important match here for both sides. The Daryl is a pick I do like. The super is great at canceling those Carl supers as well. Carl, that was a very expected pick for FUT Esports, to be completely honest. I mean, as you said, Lenan plays it fantastically, but overall on this map, it's just a great fit. The pickaxe swings, they just work very nicely, curve nicely around the walls, get people out of position, and obviously that free blue star at the beginning due to the dash is just so much value and gives you a little bit of an easier time start on the defense, which is always very valuable. We'll have a Barley to try to unlock the situation as well from a distance. Does need to be careful, of course, from any aggressive ideas coming through from the Carl, but I do like the Barley. I think it can find a good bit of value. There's obviously other throwers that can do a very good job as well here, such as Sprout, but Barley, if you are looking to take back that lead in the later stages, it can do a really, really solid job spreading around the map with that super and just covering so much ground.
Right, going to come in is an interesting idea. I mean, I prefer it in knockout. I'm interested to see how FUT do fare with it here. The Carl is going to be great for going for the flying hood, but it's these tankier ideas that SK are so good with the control of that Barley. It worries me a bit that if FUT find themselves in those back lines, that's where SK punish. They are such a passive team in that respect, but they have now got the aggressiveness they've been missing for such a long time. They had great results last year by being passive, undoubtedly so. But this year has been a change in the scene, People are starting to realize that being aggressive is where Brawl really, really lands the mark. Let's see. FUT on top, pushing down SK. Already a walking cane does connect with Chaos. Oh, the follow-up was perfect between Drage and Semantic. Lovely start from FUT, but it's just the one star, the blue star in the hands of SK.
Great crossfire there from FUT, and obviously the gadget as well from Drage. Gets a follow-up connection onto IKEOS, but Drage forced to fall back and leave that fight. Ope is able to get a kill, can even find a second TP out from Drage, but Ope still stands and he's not going to be getting traded out. Yashi, in fact, gets the kill with a nice gadget popped just in the nick of time. And now 4 stars in favor of SK Gaming is a really, really good place to be. Just want to point out as well, FUT Esports did not go for that blue star, interestingly enough. You'd think that, you know, with Lena on that card, that would be a free blue star, but they opted to not go for it, which I'm not entirely sure why.
Oh my word, OPE cycling, oh my goodness! Gets that as well. I think he actually got his kill stolen there towards the end, but nonetheless, absolutely popping off. And, you know, it's such an enjoyable thing to watch because, you know, you're not just witnessing the insane amount of communication between the teams internally themselves play out into the skill that we're seeing. It's like they're also inside the minds of their oppositions because they played on the side of their oppositions. Lenan coming in, OP with a body block, making sure that he doesn't get out. Great coming in there from Drage, gets the pick up as well, and IKEOS trays it out as well. I mean, it's just so intense.
6 stars, Arc, 6 stars separating both teams. If Yashi and IKEOS go down and it's clean kills with no trades, that would be it. But a shield from Semantic was missed, and I think that pretty much completely. And
between the body and the legs, just I think it's wiped Lenan off the map. But let's see what they do with the blue star, because you're right, and they want obviously Lenan on the lane side, I guess, to be able to scout early on. But more often than not, it's a free star. But OPE is just happened. He's low HP now, might go down, might get suffered for it. Lenan is struggling in this matchup, and he really shouldn't be. OP goes in, gets the kill, 5 stars already for SK.
Yeah, I don't know about the gray pick either, to be honest. I mean, Drake has been playing it well, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they were focusing so much on dealing with that Barley that they maybe dismissed how strong Daryl is as well. I mean, if you look at things, Ope has been the one finding openings, finding kills left and right in both games so far, and there's just no matchup that one-on-one FUT Esports can win against the Daryl, so they need to play this together, and they need to play this smart. Yashi is going to be low HP, but nice healing tonic from IKEO is going to keep him alive, and Ope strikes again with another kill. Not traded just yet, but eventually the crossfire from Drage and Semantic finds him. Nevertheless, it's another trade as Yashi is able to pick up the kill on the right-hand side, and it's still 6 stars, very much in favor of SK.
I think they've got to be a bit more cautious around OPE, honestly. Sometimes I just feel like he's just going to absolutely run riot because of the positioning of FUT. I think they've got to just try to suppress him a bit better and keep their range, keep their advantage, and sometimes get out of the situation, actually, because they can escape with stars by doing so. And that is trickling him down, but that roll is going to be costly, and when it comes in, I worry that he might be unmatched against it. Good taps there from Semantic, keeping him low. There's still 6 stars for FUT to be able to just even draw it close, and even then the blue stars with SK. They've got to go in now on the aggressive.
Oh, huge TP from Lena, actually gets one, but Yashi is able to get the trade regardless, and this should very much be secured here for SK Gaming.
Then you're going to leave them thinking, where can we actually win? Because that was our best set in mode. Where do we go from here? Now going into Brawl, we are all level again. And you just know that we are going to be bringing in some tanks here. You know, OP going to want that max. So I think that, you know, I think FUT know that better than anyone. They're probably going to have to ban that one out. Shelly is a must ban here for me. There's no question about it. Let's see whether they leave Carl open because it's a great map for it. Yeah, max ban by FUT. Exactly what you've got to do against this. You know the players that you're facing. So you've got to eradicate, even if you want it for yourself. The Shelly ban, the Max ban, and also the B. Great bans from FUT. Poco, B, and Crow ban for SK. And the first pick is at Ems, and I love that. Ems is getting a lot of wins recently now.
It's doing really well. I mean, it's a very versatile brawler. Obviously, a tank counter as well, which things are incredibly scary to face, especially in draft format. But it just brings so much utility. The slow is good to defuse pushes, open things up as well if you are on the offensive. And obviously the gadget as well to knock back your opponents, keep them away from the ball or from scoring. Very often can be clutch. We'll see the Stu as well as the Otis brought out by FUT Esports. Two very good picks as well. Otis going to be filling up a similar role of tank melter, but obviously, you know, the mute providing a lot of utility for the team. A great way to create some sort of opening, and Stu very, very mobile, very versatile. Usually still the speed zone that's going to be the most played, but the break in Brawl is not unheard of either, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they want to bring out that Stu, if it's going to be more utility based or more, you know, for the raw mechanics of the Brawler.
Could be a penny question mark here for SK in potential moment, or a riskier, tankier option against the Otis. I don't think much of it. It's going to go with a riskier, tankier option against the Otis. Buster coming in. What are your thoughts, Teddy? You watched from the sidelines when we saw Buster come in previously for, I believe it was EMEA Fantasy. It did not do well. A different map and mode, no doubt about it. But, you know, a team's experimenting with Buster in competition setting too early. Is there a place for him in pinhole punt? You know, have SK got a plan up their sleeve here? Because they're very clearly comfortable running it, and there's still a chance for FUT to respond. But into an Otis, it could be risky here, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. The thing is, to me, I feel like he's kind of a ticking bomb, but not like in his advantage. You have 3 gadgets. I think his pulls are incredibly important at pro level play, because you need to close the gap, right? Once you run out, it's a bit scary to be bringing in a Buster, and I'm not sure that's going to work out. If FUT can, you know, burn his utility out early on, I think they could have the advantage here. The Lu as well is going to be a great way to dissuade any sort of aggression and slow down the pacing as well. Just throw that super out near the ball or near key areas of the map, and that's going to be locking SK Gaming from defending those parts. So I like the idea. It's not the easiest brawler to play, but so far Lena is tapping, and the freeze already onto Yashi is going to be claiming the first kill for FUT Esports. The second, as Lena picks up Ope, and it's only a Chaos left to defend, but the respawns are coming through, and I like that FUT are not impatient. They're taking their time, making sure they play around that map control rather than trying to rush in a goal that they end up failing.
The Jukes of Chaos there were absolutely insane. I mean, he was on his own 1 versus 3 and just bought so much time by not conceding a single tap. I mean, it's honestly something to marvel at, but they are far from out of the woods here. The Buster pick not really showing much so far. Trapped into the corner, but surviving on nonetheless. The trade is there, 2 versus 2 now. Time for a shield. Connections are being made, though the mute as well. And Semantic finds the position and gets the trick shot. The perfect placement. And it will reward FUT with the goal. It wasn't just for flair. It was just simply because that was what he needed to do to ensure it.
That was absolutely gorgeous. We do have a strong push coming through from SK Gaming. Ope was the kill. Surely that's going to be SK Gaming evening things out. It was 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. Even though we had an incredible play from Semantic just earlier, it is 1-1. We're all even.
Look how quickly these takedowns are happening. Everyone is dropping like flies on the side of SK. Semantic comes in, secures it, and doesn't hesitate. My word, what a response! And as quickly as that is Yoshi gone, iChaos is always left standing alone. And it's not enough to defend these moments against a team like FUT.
Look at that aggression. Semantic was a 2-piece on the left and making a triple. Just making a triple. Semantic slots it in. And 12 seconds. It's all it took for FUT to open up the scoreboard, and SK Gaming, they need to be careful. They don't want to be dropping this set.
Wow. You say that, and I think it's about to happen. SK have got to start to be more on their feet here and just try to survive on longer, because honestly, the way that FUT keep positioning themselves here and also finding the scoring opportunities, the set's almost done. I mean, we're almost finished. And FUT do not seem to look like, to me, that they are slowing down anytime soon. They've got the aggression, they've got the ability to just secure everything that's being thrown at them by SK. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a slower pace, and it's a good thing. It's about time, realistically, here, that SK are able to show they've been able to hold on. But look, Semantic's been able to creep through. And as I'm speaking, everyone low, but
out of his mind. And Drage and Luna as well were just very, very consistent throughout the set, hitting their shots, winning their matchups. And I do agree, though, like the Buster just didn't quite provide the sort of value you'd expect from such a shiny pick. But Gem Fort is where we are going to be heading next for set 4. And now with FUT in the driver's seat, SK, they need to cook, and they need to cook better than for Brawl, because this is going to be an important draft coming up.
Shelly M's and Crowban for SK, Stu B and Crowban for FUT. This is going to be a very important set for both sides here. For me, I think Pam has got a great place, but Tara going to come up for the first pick. FUT. I'm not sure whether there's a first pick brawler. Obviously, Pet Power now as a gear has really elevated Tara big time. I mean, 20% buff, and I think that actually applies to both the healing and the aggressiveness side of those Tara shadows. So if you're running the healing shade star power side, then you can also have the aggressive shadows going with the gadget, which actually deal that same damage, from my testing at least. I could be wrong. But nonetheless, right. It's very versatile now. Yeah, and having that additional vision to have, if you want it, this whole map is just going to light up. Ruffs, though, I really rate here. I mean, you have Ruffs, the whole map is wide open. It brings a different level of brawlers and options into the mix as well here. So I prefer that for me so far from SK. Let's see what they want to pair with it.
I think it's interesting because I really don't mind Tara. I think she's in an alright place. She's definitely a brawler that has its play, but as a first pick, I think it's a bit of a statement. Like, I would be worried if I was SK Gaming and I'm facing a first pick Tara on Gem Fort.
Yeah.
It genuinely feels like, you know, there's a plan that most people aren't necessarily the most aware of, or at least used to just yet. Jesse now to follow up here for SK Gaming. I don't mind that either. I think that if there's a gem grab map to bring it, this is probably gonna be it. It is a brawler that's had some questionable results in competitive. I want to see how SK put it at play.
I know that a lot of EMEA hate Jesse, right? But you got to look across the wider picture of things. It's used a great deal in LATAM. It's used a great deal in Southeast Asia. Max are going to come in for FUT. That's a really big statement. And Buster for them, I mean, I'm still a bit on the fence around it. I would like to see it working out. So far, it's got a 0% win rate today. So let's see how it fares for them. Jesse, I absolutely get here, and it can work very, very successfully well. SK got the whole picture here to hand. There's not really much wall breaker here, and Ash coming for that reason exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. They can see the big picture, and they can go on the aggressive. Obviously, Tara can break the bush, but that's about it. So, you know, whoever's running on that tankier idea is going to be able to run riot potentially here.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, because I do kind of like the Buster here. Not because it's Buster, but because there's a max pair wizard, right? Like, there's not much you can do once you have a sped up Buster that's just running at you, even maybe going for a pull. Like, it can definitely find a lot of value, but the Ash is just going to be such a strong way to counter it. And I feel like Max and Tara, as much as they can keep their distance and take down an Ash in the right circumstances, it still requires a lot of utility, and that's a bit of a scary prospect. But let's see how it actually plays out. As so far early on, it does seem like FUT have a little bit more control, and that is low. Chaos is ever so slightly going to be surviving as Semantic finds Yashi, and we have a trade as at last, the Buster goes down on the right-hand side. It is a nice and early gem lead in favor of FUT so far, and the wiggles from Drage are absolutely on point as well.
Just a very aggressive start here. SK is struggling big time to find their momentum, their pace. Semantic's got super here as well. None has his too. Those 7 gems are all with FUT, which is great for them, but if SK do manage to get a steal here, it's going to be dangerous. Bit of a desperate Tara there on the right-hand side. Lanan gets the pickup. It's going to be everyone dropping from the side of SK. This does not look at all like the first set. This is all entirely FUT every step of the way. SK have got to get themselves together. This could be all over very, very quickly if they don't.
So far, near perfection from FUT, to be honest. A masterclass from Drage on the max, and the rest of the squad is doing a fantastic job as well. FUT Esports on match point, and
effortless almost for FUT. You know, they just absolutely trampled it. It wasn't even close. SK did not get a foot in the door at all. And look at that. Drace tapping up Yoshi completely, eradicating him from all question in the mid. Surviving on. Chaos low, Yoshi low. SK got to come back with HP and start to secure a kill left, right, and center. Realistically here, gain that mid control, which they've been lacking all the time here. They're just not putting their strategy into motion.
The teamwork here from FUT is great. Akeos is able to find some value. Now still standing somehow, still getting some damage, preventing Akeos from healing back up as well. The slow from the Jesse turret is going to be quite brutal. Semantic is going to be susceptible to some damage here. Does have pull now as well, but he would rather use it once he has a good amount of HP. Otherwise, he doesn't get his super charge back at all if he goes down. Let's see now, is SK Gaming or a bit more in the driver's seat, a slight lead. Semantic looking to go more aggressive. Is going to go for the pull this time around onto Akeos, but is that going to be enough value? Akeos is going to go down, but control-wise, it's still very much SK in the mid.
Yeah, the Star thing to realize that they can find holes in what FUT are putting out there. And Yoshi, having that turret to hand, made a big difference, but he's got to earn it back, find the value that he found previously to it. That's where the clustering of Semantic and Drace makes me worried, and that's why Drace is going to go down into robotic grass unless he face shifts, which he's got none of. My word, SK have started to up a gear just in the nick of time. This is not over.
Oh, the miss pull, that's huge. Semantic goes down. Drace is next in line, and that is going to be a team wipe for SK Gaming. Bringing this game back and locking in game number 2 of Gem Grab. It's still going to be match point for FUT.
They're going to struggle and potentially get walked over in this next game. So they've got to tread really cautiously now, because they can't go over aggressive too early on. Obviously, they're double left and side lane is what they do, and they get annihilated. But now Semantic had the exact same idea in mind, and they come up on top.
It's just genius, to be honest, right? Because the Buster pool brings them all packed up together. The zone damage from the Buster plus the zone damage from the Tara is just gonna melt them down, and that's how they win that early game this time around, and it's exactly what they needed, really.
Well, they're now more susceptible there with the shield on the right-hand side, so OP comes from the left. Finds Semantic just in the nick of time, so he survives that pull. And now look at Drace, completely out of position. Chaos goes in for the killing blow. He's shot out with a ghost if he wouldn't have been enough. This is what happened previous to that. Last game is lost control, SK hunkered down, and that's where they turn things around. Bixby coming in, but where is it going to lead?
Yeah, Drace can go aggressive now. Ope is not quite going to make it, but Yoshi is still up, and his turret, it's a real problem. As soon as he unlocks it for the Buster to get anywhere up close, not only does it scout him from afar, the slow just prevents any sort of aggressive ideas. And those gems on the Buster, the most aggressive brawler of the bunch, is just not what FUT are hoping for. Akeos is low. A pull connects onto Ope. Ope is one shot, but he still stands for now. The missed shot as well from Semantic. Lena just trying to hold on to some position here for FUT, but this is looking more and more like a set 5 is on the line.
This is FUT's plan B. They do not want the gems to be where they are, like you rightly say, and it's just allowing SK to buy so much time, and Anand is going to go down here potentially as well. If that connects, which it does, they can run away with it. It's Semantic versus the world, and even with a Tara, you've got to have Paul to cause the difference, and he can't close the gap to be able to even earn it. Great slow there from Yoshi as well. We're going all the distance, and this is one of those matches.
It's just barely inside the LCQ spots. SK not quite on 10th place. It does help that Team Queso and FA Mr. Doza are not qualified this month. So that's 2 slots that they can easily try to catch up, but it only happens if they capitalize, right? And this is their opportunity. It's all lining up very nicely for SK Gaming. But FUT, they don't want to let that happen. Our bans are coming through here for Out in the Open. We'll see the Eve Brock banned out here on the side of SK, as well as the RT, and then FUT Esports taking out the Max, the Bunny, and the Squeak. I like those bans so far. There's plenty of very fun ideas to bring into the mix. Gus, of course, has been one of the staples of this map. I'm also thinking about Piper potentially. And when you think of Piper, you also think of Nani. This could also be ideas for out in the open.
It's a great first pick, 100% of the way. It's a great map for Sprout as well. And I know that SK would like their hands on that if they get the pick, or Penny could be a good shout too, but Gus for me is definitely up there as one of the highest first picks with the bans in play realistically here. Brock was a great ban. I love opening up the mid on this particular map and just allowing everyone to go straight through. Meg is the play for SK apparently. I don't know. It's still very early days to tell whether Meg's dropped off and Jean, but they're very quick picks by the way. So SK apparently have got what they are looking for in this situation. Bring it back to FUT very swiftly, because ultimately it gives them less time to have to think. You've got to be able to respond with something to be able to defend against a tankier option. Meg didn't historically, even before the nerf, though, have a great success rate in knockout pretty much everywhere else. So you know, in this later stages, not being in Meg can prove pretty costly in those final moments when the gas is closing in. You really got to stay in that one. And Shelly comes in for FUT, and that is a big response to that very idea.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting a Shelly on this map. I mean, Shelly I still think is in a great place, very, very strong still. But out in the open, it's quite out in the open as the map says, and you'll have to close the gap to find the most value, especially against a Meg that can beam you from afar. Let's see what their final pick is. Could still try to go for some more damage, maybe a B could be on the menu here, but it's going to be a tick actually, more control based, and tick heads are going to be a great deterrent as well from any sort of the aggression that the mech might want to bring in.
I'm worried for SK, and Chaos looked worried for SK, might I just add, in the camera when that Shelly turret space. He did look like instantly mortified, actually, almost as if they, you know, maybe hoping that FUT wouldn't run it, because SK did in the qualifiers, and that's where FUT came unstitched. Grey gonna come in. It's a great map for it. It is a very good Grey map, but it's gonna be on the tick for sure. Chaos hoping that that is enough for it, but you know, SK are looking under the heat right now. They don't look quite as clear and comfortable, and we'll find out very quickly who is going to make the opening mark. Whether this is going to be a close final fifth set in what has been an amazing series, or whether one side may have just found some magic, and my mind is on the Shelly.
Man, this is such an interesting one because it, like, I don't know why my gut tells me I prefer SK Gaming's comp, but really I don't know what to expect from FUT Esports comp. So that might be the motivating factor here, as Akios is going to be busy opening up the map, making sure that the Shelly is the hardest time possible getting up close. So far though, things are lining up very nicely for FUT Esports with just a bunch more control, and they have great ways of dealing with pretty much anything that SK would want to throw into their face. Semantic was a super as well, probably going to be playing the slow, which is going to be quite scary. Actually, never mind, maybe not. Maybe he is running Band-Aid, which would be quite interesting. Not necessarily the one I would have expected.
Yeah, we still had a bit of Band-Aid coming through today, actually, in fact. I wasn't too sure that the nerf was big enough to warrant it, but a great TP coming in from Chaos keeps in the mix just long enough for the Clay Pigeons shut down of Semantic, and now it's a 2 versus 1, Yoshi versus the world, and I don't see Yoshi coming out on top. He's going to try to get in mech form. Semantic's being very patient. Drake's trying to get super. It was pretty much always going to go their way. They just wanted to squeeze out that little bit of utility before the final blow.
Now, the only little problem now is that there's no more gadgets for Semantic, and that's been helping him get those snipes from afar, pretty much turning Shelly into a sharpshooter. Not going to be possible, and you can immediately see that the pressure is not quite what it was to Gene Pull as well. It's going to be scary, especially combined with Yoshi's super, just going for a pull and then a swipe. That's going to be an instant death no matter who gets pulled. We do have 2 supers now for FUT as well. And the tick head is going to be catapulted over to the enemy side. Not really going to be getting much results with that.
break there from Semantic. I mean, obviously no one there, simply just to allow that channeling, that space for his team to be able to utilize here. OP, his Paul, Yoshi, and Chaos all have supers to hand, so it is FUT who are a little bit behind in that respect. Yoshi gets the pinch from the left-hand side, getting great value for it, and a swift annihilation of Semantic. Big swipe from Yoshi, nowhere for Drage to go, but into the gas, all tied up in the first game.
My goodness, a match point on the line for this final round of knockout. And Chaos has TP, but there is a ticket as a defensive measure. A lot of aggression, and Semantic finds open. Yoshi trying to get the trade. There is some low HP players on the side of FUT, but somehow all of them survive, and it's only Yoshi left alive, and he doesn't even have his mech anymore.
I can't believe that SK came out on top there, to be honest. It felt like they were just going to be all going down in one swift flow. He's going to try and get Semantic now. It's not going to be enough. Semantic with that so far, a reserve Semantic, because he knows that there's still work to be done.
I think that one of the potential win conditions here is if FUT managed to win the first round without using as many gadgets on Semantic, well, he's not going to get the chance to, let's be honest here, as he goes on really early on. I think it could make quite the difference, but so far it's not quite looking like that's going to be the case. He wasn't expecting both players to jump in, and therefore ended up going down early. With esports in a little bit of a pickle now.
I think it's a great strat from SK. Yeah, a very daring one. It could have backfired big time, let's be honest. But nonetheless, in the start of the refresh of the round, you know there's no utility there. So you've got to eradicate Semantic before he has something to work with. And look at Lenan, solo here, a sweep there for SK, and a glimmer. They've got to be able to do very much the same idea again. Just isolate Semantic, get him out of the question, and this could very much be match point before our very eyes.
Yeah, this is looking very good for SK. The gene pool available as well. The connection is found, unless there's an incredibly clutch Gust super to just extend the life of whoever the target of that pool is. It's going to be scary. They do have a ticket as well. The shield is going to be popped now by Semantic. The ticket gets pulled. That's very big. Ope low HP as well. Yoshi forced back, and it's going to be Drage to pick up the elimination onto Ope. Now suddenly, it's a 3-on-2. Yoshi closing the gap, but doesn't quite get the swipe off. His mech gets destroyed just in the nick of time. And FUT Esports are most likely going to be a round away from taking this one home, as Chaos is already making a run for the gas, trying not to feed that Shelly super.
What a moment for FUT, securing themselves and the abilities in their minds that they are literally one round away now from knocking down their biggest rivals. It's not even arguably so. The big shield and Semantic going super aggressive. The clay pigeons as well. And Chaos is almost down. Gets some heals off the back of that TP for sure. And healing from OP go a long way. But look at this. FUT can smell blood, and they're going for the jugular.
FUT Esports looking to finish things right here, right now. Don't want any double match point business, and Lena finds first blood. Chaos goes down. As Ope TPs to the right-hand side, he does have a pull. This could be their opportunity to bring things back to a 3-on-2, but with a Shelly pull, a tick head, and a Gust shield, this is looking very challenging for SK Gaming. Quite the uphill battle. Can they make a play happen?
It'd be huge from OP, but it's trickling down HP. 250, misses the ball as well. Ticket's going to connect it. It's a 3 versus 1. Yoshi, it is over. And FUT have got the spins and the pins, but most importantly, the win. They go through to today's semi-final. And as I'm saying it, IRL spins from Semantic. You love to see it. Great energy, but what a series. SK did not give it to them lying down. They fought their hardest, but FUT go through.
One of my favorite matches so far this year, for sure. We can't say it enough, but the history, you know, even for Semantic,